What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs, where we like to talk about the stock markets and give you some analysis on daily, intraday trades, investments, crypto, scalps, essentially everything stock market. So that sounds like something you're interested in. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And today, yes, we've been waiting for today, and which seemed like forever. Even the day in itself seemed like forever. We did have quite a bit of chop this morning, and then we had some good data come out this morning and kind of pushed us up a little bit, going into, or at least pushing tech up, going into the FOM meeting notes. FOMO meeting notes, which came out today. The market was very mixed on what was going on. The biggest thing to pull from that is the fact that the Fed is aware of what is going on. They do all agree on staying essentially together on the decisions that they're making, but ultimately understand that they talked about tapering, which is something a lot of people are concerned about as far as inflation, and understanding that the inflation in itself, there's not really much the Fed is going to do at the current moment, is essentially what the notes said. Essentially that they will address it when need be, but there are talks of it. Now, I think originally, as soon as those meeting notes came out, the market kind of digested it, didn't really like it. I don't know if it was just because of the fact of the talk of tapering kind of initially was an initial scare, because we sold off a little bit. We didn't sell too bad, although overnight session was bad. We did sell off quite a bit overnight, but everything kept in range. Like we saw the day before, things were staying in range. You had a couple of things like Tesla, Apple, Facebook wanting to break out of range, but they were slowly wicked right back into range. And then today we had the opposite effect. Everything tried to sell off, and then it wicked right back into range again today. So it was really interesting to watch essentially play out in the charts. Then, like I said, we pushed up about midday, just before we got the meeting notes. And again, the tapering has been talked about. Again, I don't know if we're ultimately going to see what the digestion is tomorrow on the meeting notes, after more people get their hands on the notes and start reading over the notes and digesting what is the possible outcome of this, and understanding that from this point forward, do we continue forward? Are we good? I think we're going to see more movement starting tomorrow and definitely on Friday. But I think ultimately we've been waiting on this report. Again, we always sell a lot into these reports, especially what's been going on, and then we kind of pop right back. But we definitely want to see a break, hopefully above this range. A lot of things have been beaten down really badly, for the most part, except the industry leaders. That's why I talk about the industry leaders a lot. But ultimately understand that the market is, again, going through a lot of growth, right? You got crypto assets. You got growth has just been doing phenomenally. You have, again, the pandemic that has really destroyed the supply of a lot of different things, and understand the demand is extremely high, and inflation is there. The Fed did finally address that last week, but it's just the growing pains of everything. I'm trying to understand there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and so with uncertainty comes chop, and that's what we're seeing. That's what we've been seeing for a while, although the beginning of April we did see a bit of a run for about a week or two, and then it kind of died down back in a chop. We did some selling and continued to chop around again. So I expect much the same. I expect us to start pushing up again here soon, and then start chopping eventually when new numbers come out. Maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, I think, is the next Fed meeting, and at that point we might start getting more chop again at that point, and then take it with a grain of salt, essentially, is what I'm saying. I think ultimately, though, I'm still very bullish on the market. I don't see us really selling off. I don't see a reason to. Again, just the inflation, people just want answers. So when people get answers, then the market moves. But Right now, there is no definite answers, so we will chop until there is definite answers. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and pull up the charts. SPY, like I said today, opened up down. We did push up, which was interesting because I thought we might have shorted a little bit. We opened up right at support, but we did push up, which was good to see. Again, we played range. I was going to short, but I did see the fact that, it was really hard. I gave it time this morning. I wanted to jump in puts this morning, but I gave it a lot of time, and the market held strong. It would not give up. A lot of different stocks like Tesla and Facebook and everything, and Amazon. Again, they did open up down, but they weren't going any further. They fought right back. Tesla was really struggling there, but the buyers kept picking it up. So that was definitely really good. In my mind, that's extremely bullish right now. Again, it's just the uncertainty. If we can get over this whole uncertainty and have some answers, I think the market is ready to go. And I'm seeing that in the market. Looking at these candles every single day, I can definitely tell you could see it working in that direction. Again, just need some clarification, and I think this market's ready to start ripping again. So as far as the market, again, I think we need digestion a little bit more. We'll really give us direction tomorrow. Definitely be checking ranges in, again, industry leaders, which I'll go over. I don't have much of a watch list. I want to really watch the industry leaders tomorrow, so just be aware of that. So let me go ahead and pull up the watch list here before we get into QQQ. Again, industry leaders is something I really want to watch during this whole thing. I think it's important to watch these. Tier 2 seem really strong today. Tier 2 is holding very well today. So that's something to keep in mind. I do have NNDM on here, primarily just because of earnings. Now, last earnings, they were not profitable, but forward guidance was extremely good. And they did attempt to sell off only to turn around and start rocketing right after the fact. So that's something I want to keep an eye on tomorrow, looking for the continuation, especially now that the notes are kind of out now. I think we are ready to kind of rock and roll. So that being said, that's what I got for SPY. Again, it looks like it's getting ready to pop here. So that is definitely a plus. And QQQ definitely it's struggling, but again, playing range. As long as it's playing range, I'm okay. I just don't want to. Hopefully, we end up pushing up. Again, I've seen a lot of strength in tech. It wants to go, but then there's been, luckily, there's always been a event that occurs typically when we get up to the top of this range. Causes us to sell off, and then we get these massive buying down here on the bottom of these ranges. So that's something to watch. If we do come back down, look for the buying again. It could be hammer on glass and break, but I think ultimately the bulls are just trying to load up is what it seems like. Again, could be 100% wrong on that, but just ultimately that is what I am seeing. Gold and silver is something I want to bring up too. I played gold overnight. I am playing gold again tonight. I think gold will shoot up, especially if the market decides to go up. The gold has been kind of running in parallel with market. I do think the market will pop tonight, and depending on the dollar, what's going on with that, it might continue to run. Bonds still doing okay. They're holding, and that's really what matters. Again, any dramatic moves in this would cause market fluctuation, but we've kind of slowly been melting up and down, so it really hasn't affected the market too much. Again, if it's just doing chop like this, it's not going to affect the market, but if we do have some dramatic selling or some dramatic buying that's more than the normal, you can definitely tell that it will move the market at that point. But Tesla is the first one I got today. Like I talked about, I almost shorted it out the gates, but I wanted to wait and see what it did. It did struggle a bit. I was looking to short it on the retest back here from underneath, but it held really well, and it didn't want to go. And it wasn't actually till later in this hourly candle that it started actually dipping down, and then we pulled back up, and then we just really rattled around all day, right back into that range. So Tesla, again, I want to see what it does tomorrow. It's been building a nice base, and it's something to keep in mind here is although it's kind of broke down a little bit, it's still holding. And then every time it gets down below the support, it pushes back up. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. I want to see what is going on with this. especially being one of the leaders. If there's any kind of inflation, this definitely sell off quick. It's had tons of good news. Also, Elon's been in the news, so that really hasn't helped the stock that much, but I think it's still, this is showing very good strength. This whole pattern right here, this whole block, this consolidation, I think it's ready to rip once the market starts turning. Facebook is the other one. Facebook has been very strong. Today, I missed this. I was watching this. I was looking for the gap fill today, actually, to be honest. And it was hard to tell because I really wanted it down here. So this was kind of middle ground for me. So I didn't want to grab this per se. And it did do a gap fill today and continue to push up after hours. It looks like it's getting ready to bounce and rip. In my opinion, Facebook has definitely been leading the pack the past couple of months. So that's something to keep in mind. Amazon is the other one. Today, I felt the same way, kind of middle ground. I did try to short it at this point forward. It was really struggling here. And it did actually come down back below here, which I thought was do or die to come back down to the major support here. But it didn't. So I did take a little bit of red here today on this one. But it did pop back up. And again, testing middle Bollinger Band, it is coming back down. Overnight session is really going to tell direction, I believe. So I'm keeping Amazon on watch. And NDM is the other one I have. And NDM, again, earnings tomorrow. And like I said, it's been consolidating. I think if it does, I'm looking for that drop and pop tomorrow. Maybe even we get a drop down here to this 562 mark. And then possibly pop up and rip up will be something I am watching tomorrow. Continuation on any kind of momentum definitely helps, especially with the market that is like this, or possibly not even trade. That's something else that you can do. And so I want to really kind of emphasize that because I know a lot of people might be getting chopped up on what's going on. And so just be mindful of that. Just be aware of that. If you need to, just take time, right? Like I've been playing a lot smaller than I normally do in a lot of my positions, only because of the uncertainty of the markets and what's going on. I've been really hesitant on taking positions because there have been a lot of fake outs. I've definitely been more patient. That's one the market will definitely teach you to do. And playing ranges, even in my scalping, I normally wait for 2 standard deviation move before I even attempt to try to get into a position to scalp because I want everything essentially more on my side as opposed to trying to grab stuff. I do play middle Bollinger Band and stuff like that with the Bollinger Bands, looking for bounces on those. But ultimately, my bread and butter is looking for those 2 standard deviations out and trying to grab it at that point, and playing it from there. Quick scalps in and out and not wasting a lot of time, especially if you are playing weeklies. You got that theta that burns fast. So any kind of pump, especially when you're grabbing 2 standard deviations out, you can normally get a good wick out of that. And so that's what I've been kind of playing. Again, playing bounces off the middle Bollinger Bands as long as it has momentum. Just one thing to keep in mind, and trying not to swing much. When I do swing, they're very light, especially right now, or shares, right? And when I swing the shares, I typically go with those stocks that I believe in, right? The fundamental stocks, the ones that are resilient, the ones that are going to bounce back, the ones that have cult followings. Those are the ones I stay with. I don't stay with some random ticker that I've never traded. I don't do that because I don't know any fundamentals about that company, and I'm not about to study fundamentals every single night and every ticker that I find that is on my that comes up on the scanner. So that being said, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Again, manage risk, and remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later.